They say karma doesn't ask questions. It doesn't demand explanations. It simply waits. It changes its face, changes its path, but never its destination. The fire you light for someone else, one day it comes back to collect what it's owed. Tonight is one of those nights. Deep in the pine woods of rural West Virginia, far from the main highway, sits an old abandoned crematory ground. Most locals call it the Burnt Hollow. A thick layer of ash has settled over everything like gray snow. In the center, one pyre is still smoldering, its last embers glowing weakly against the cold night air. An old Agori-style hermit, though folks around here just call him the burner, sits cross-legged in front of the dying flames. His body is covered in ash, his long matted hair tangled with bones and beads. His eyes are closed, lips moving silently as he chants in a low, guttural rhythm. With every verse, he scoops a handful of ash from the ground and feeds it back into the fire. The flames flicker strangely, as if reluctant to burn. The hermit's breathing grows heavier. His hands rise in offering. Then, without warning, the fire dies completely. A thick, unnatural silence falls over the hollow. Not even the wind moves through the trees. The hermit bows his head to the ground in reverence. When he looks up again, something is rising slowly from the pile of charred wood and ash. It's the shape of a woman. She doesn't scream, she doesn't thrash, she simply stands there, her eyes burning with a calm, terrifying authority. The hermit's lips twitch into a small smile at first, thinking his ritual has succeeded. Then the smile freezes. One of his Rudraksha bead necklaces snaps with a sharp crack, scattering across the ash. A thin, clean line appears across his chest, as if an invisible blade had sliced straight through him without touching the skin. The air grows deathly still. The next moment, the hermit collapses, gasping onto the cold ground. When he regains consciousness, the pyre has burned out completely. Only faint red embers remain. He stares at it in confusion. He hadn't left it like that. He scans the darkness for the woman's spirit, but she is gone. For the first time in decades, real fear creeps into his eyes. He quickly gathers his things and hurries down the narrow dirt trail that leads back through the woods toward his isolated cabin. Behind him, the layer of ash shifts slightly, as if something that had been trapped for a very long time had finally been set free. When the hermit reaches his cabin, he finds a small crowd of locals gathered outside. The moment they see him, they start talking over each other. "Preacher, burner, what the hell happened here?" His cabin looks like a tornado tore through it, but only his place. The roof is half caved in, sacred texts ripped apart, statues smashed, everything covered in ash and debris. Yet not a single other house in the hollow was touched. "Looks like the devil himself paid you a visit," one old man mutters, eyeing the broken crucifix on the ground. The hermit waves them off with a hard voice. "Leave it. This is my burden. Go back to your homes. God will handle the rest." The locals eventually disperse, whispering nervously. Alone now, the hermit stands in the wreckage of his life's work. Everything he had collected over decades of extreme rituals, gone. He sits near his makeshift fire pit and begins chanting again, eyes closed. But the moment he tosses a pinch of ash into the flames, the fire dies instantly. His eyes snap open. That has never happened before. Then, from the edge of the dark tree line, he hears it, the soft, innocent laughter of a little girl. He turns sharply. A small girl in a white dress stands there, just beyond the tree line, watching him. "Who are you?" he calls out. She doesn't answer. "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you." The girl suddenly turns and runs deeper into the woods. The hermit jumps up and chases after her, but she vanishes between the trees like smoke.
He spins around, searching frantically. Just as he's about to give up and head back, a whisper slithers past his ear. He whips around. "Who's there?" His own voice echoes back at him from every direction, distorted and mocking. The sound grows louder, sharper, until it feels like knives in his skull. He clamps his hands over his ears and runs blindly out of the woods, heart pounding. Later that night, the hermit finds himself at the old cremation records board near the burnt hollow. His eyes scan the names of the recently cremated. One name stops him cold. Ashwini Aparajita Singh, a transgender woman, a hydra, or as some cruel locals used to call her, the freak from the city who moved here. The pieces start falling into place, and a wave of dread washes over him. If the body he was trying to bind was Aparajita, then who was the little girl he saw? The question haunts him as he walks away, leaving only the old wooden board creaking in the wind. Back in his ruined cabin, the hermit tries to pray, but the words won't come. The mantras slip from his mind like sand through fingers. He forgets entire verses he had chanted for 40 years. His eyes suddenly fly open wide. He knows something has begun. Panicking, he stands and reaches for the clay water jug, but it's gone. In his frantic search, his hands brush against an old, forgotten journal he had hidden years ago. He opens it and starts reading. That's when his young disciple, Tyler, appears at the doorway. "Master, I was just passing by. Thought I'd check on you." The hermit forces a calm tone. "What brings you here, Tyler?" "There's a small celebration in town tonight. My little sister just got engaged. Everyone would be honored if you came and gave your blessings." The hermit nods slowly. "I'll be there." At the engagement party, the hermit sits apart from the joyful crowd, watching quietly. A young girl is singing on the small stage, her voice sweet and pure. The audience claps enthusiastically. But to the hermit, the clapping starts sounding wrong. It morphs into the sharp rhythmic clapping style of hydras, the same sound he heard years ago. His heart races. The lights seem to dim. In the shadows near the steel serving counter, he sees her, Aparajita's spirit, slowly clapping with a cold smile. He turns away in terror, but when he looks back, she's gone. That's when he knows he has to run. He bolts from the party and flees into the woods, memories flooding back in violent flashes. He remembers now. Ashwini Aparajita was a kind, outspoken transgender woman who had been taken in and raised by a small community of hydras. She would perform on stage, singing beautifully, and openly challenge the town's superstitions and hatred. "You shouldn't spread blind fear like this," she once told the crowd. "God belongs to everyone. Our prayers are equal." That message enraged the local religious hardliners, especially the hermit and his followers. They dragged her deep into the woods one night, chained her, and performed a purification ritual. While she begged and prayed, they set her on fire. As the flames consumed her, Ashwini cursed them all with her dying breath, her hydra claps echoing through the trees. "You killed my child! This curse will swallow your town! It will take everything!" Back in the present, Tyler runs to his father in panic. "Dad, there's a massive short circuit outside the mandap." Before his father can respond, a horrific explosion rips through the celebration area, engulfing everything in flames. The hermit watches the inferno from a distance, tears streaming down his face. He turns to flee, but Aparajita's spirit appears directly in his path. He drops to his knees, trembling. "Forgive me. We were wrong. We are ready to atone for what we did." The spirit's face softens into a smile of quiet victory. She raises her hand, and an invisible force lifts the hermit into the air, dragging him helplessly back toward the burnt hollow, to the exact spot where her body had been cremated. As he's pulled through the air, his Rudraksha beads snap one by one, falling to the ground. The other spirits of the Hydra community form a silent circle around the pyre site. One of them steps forward, holding a burning piece of sandalwood. Aparajita takes it and looks at the screaming hermit. "No, please, forgive me!" She drops the flaming wood onto him. The agonized screams of the hermit rise into the night, echoing the exact same way Ashwini's screams had years ago. The fire that was lit for her had finally come home.